Hello friends, it's Catherine at Moonstar Lodge, Elder, Director, Shaman, Bon Vivant, and Halloween Lover. Here with Brian, who's behind the helms of recording land. And this is a very different video today. I'm not going to be doing a reading. I'm going to be showing you piles of Halloween Samhain, as some people say, or Samhain, as most people say, decks. And these decks are decks, some I have accumulated over the years, some are just part of my 1100 card deck library that really are there because of the value of them rather than the usefulness of them. But I love this time of year. I've been a professional medium since 1974. I was a spiritualist minister. I transferred my license to an indigenous position and trained in shamanism. So when people say that this time of the year the veil gets thin, well, yes, it does. And there are scientific, atmospheric reasons why that is. But for me, a person who works with my husband with spirit all year, I delight in these decks. So this season starts really early for me. It really kicks in around October 25th, which is Owagat, which is the Iroquois Feast of the Dead. There are many, many different days celebrating death right around this time. We go through to Remembrance Day for the veterans, but for me, it goes long past Samhain or Halloween. It goes right up to winter solstice, which for me is an incredibly important day to connect with ancestors because the longest amount of dark gives us access to the star people. And in my cultural teachings, from the stars we were born and to the stars we shall return. So that's a huge night to connect with ancestors. So I've been collecting cards about this topic with my overarching collection for years. So today I'm going to do just a walkthrough. I'm not even showing you all the cards. In the videos to come, I'm going to break this down into groupings of cards. The cards I would use and why, and I will actually show you cards in the videos to come. And I will also do readings with the cards of this season, and I will probably continue to do readings with these cards right through to and into the winter. So, without further ado, Brian, let's go to the cards. I have shown in a previous video the Patrick Valenza cards which I own, and I don't own everything that he's produced, but specifically this is the Deviant Moon book, and it's referred to as the 5-pound book. It has to be 5 pounds. It's hardcover and it's massive, and it relates to the Deviant Moon deck. Now, I have the borderless edition. It's not specific to Halloween. It is more based on Patrick's nightmares and making a tarot that relates to shadow work. So this is the season of shadows as the days get shorter and the nights much longer. People misinterpret what shadow means, and we'll discuss that in one of the next videos. I don't want to take the time. But here we have the Deviant Moon Tarot, which I love, love, love. The Trionfi della Luna with its expansion pack. Nothing says creepy as beasts and people with multiple genitals and horns and teeth and fangs. Gotta love it. And then we have an oracle. We have the Oracle of Black Enchantment, and he's got this issued in a number of colors. We also have the Secret Pocket Oracle of Mildred Pierce. I have it in two versions. I have the Seance edition, which is the deluxe edition, and it has 4 more cards, and it's glow in the dark. So that's always fun. But over time, I hope to expand my Patrick Valenza cards. I shouldn't have said that out loud in front of Brian, but I love the creep vibe here, and they're very usable decks. That's the thing. They are extraordinarily useful. They have just enough of the macabre and humor. There's a sense of humor, and they're perfect. So I'm going to get these out of the way and start talking about some of the other ones. Some of the more serious decks here. Now, this is the Santa Muerte Tarot by Fabio Lastrani and the Santa Muerte Oracle. And these are intended to be read together. The author is Fabio Lastrani. He's a fabulous, he's known for being a tattoo artist, comic book artist, and an incredible artist. If you're lucky enough to score some of Fabio's other decks that don't relate to this season, go for it. You really won't be sorry, and they will increase with value, or in value, over time. So I will be doing one of the upcoming readings with Fabio's stuff, as well as with Patrick's stuff. Now, this is Nicola Ciccoli, and this is her tarot and the oracle. I'm of two minds. Now, as a doll artist, back in the days when the Canadian Doll Artists Association existed, and if you come to my studio, you will see that with Brian's woodwork and jewelry and the textile arts, I have dolls, fabric dolls. But a lot of dolls creep me out. So Nicola put these out, and yes, they are creepy. I'm still deciding whether I will do readings with this particular combination. I love that they're in my collection, but I'm not sure I have the stomach to read with them. But if anybody wants that, you need to make a comment below. In fact, take a minute to like this video, because that helps get it out to people. And make a comment, subscribe, do all those fun things. The next offering here is the Halloween Tarot. Nothing says my childhood like this tarot. Green skeletons. The cat appears. The cat that's on the box appears on, I believe, every card. I will definitely be using this card, in this deck rather, in the months to come. And it's classic. You can get it in a small, more portable version, and you can get the larger version. And I may actually get the small one in a tin and put it in my purse and carry it around. And you just never know when I will whip those cards out at you. So that's a keeper. That's a lovely, lovely deck. The Guardian Tarot. A lot of readers have commented on TarotTube that they don't like this deck, that this deck is creepy for them. And while I said I wouldn't show it, the Guardian Tarot has a lot of images, and I will show it in weeks to come. I'm actually learning to love it. Now, the Guardians here are the Fae, tree people, but there are what I interpret as spirits in this as well. They're hollow-eyed. They look like something you wouldn't want to confront at 3 o'clock in the morning on the way to the bathroom. But as I become friends with them and more comfortable, I find that there's a gentleness to this deck, and it is still kind of creepy, It's not a deck I'd pull out for every visitor here to my studio, but it's certainly one that's fitting for the time, especially since all these guardians now virtually have no leaves, so it's fitting with the time of year. The next 3 decks are similar in focus. This is the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot by Lisa Hunt. I love all the decks I have from Lisa Hunt. If you can get your hands on a copy of this, go for it. The next one is the Haunted House, and this one is the Ghost Tarot. All 3 of them are similar. They're all tarots, and while they read differently, they are a lot of fun, and they're not kitschy. They're not campy. They definitely are appropriate for this time. In fact, I have read with Lisa's deck throughout the year. All right. Not exactly Halloween. This is the Tarot del Toro. And if you look on the back, discover the hidden messages of tarot with the original deck inspired by the wondrous world of Guillermo del Toro. And it was created under the supervision of Guillermo del Toro. So you get a lot of eyeballs in this deck. And while it isn't specifically themed to Samhain, it is definitely got a weird vibe. So that I might read with that one if somebody would like to see it. The Gorgonz Tarot by Dolores Ficci. I have this in 2 versions. These are round cards. They are basically black, red, white, and gray. Not exactly Halloween, but very dark and very could be purposed for this time of year for readings. I like it because it's that gentle kick in the pants that you need sometimes when you don't want somebody around who's enabling you to continue in a bad direction. So I have it, as I say, in 2 sizes. The small cards are quite large, and they don't come with the book. So having the book and the set is excellent. Who else defines this time of year, the macabre, besides Edgar Allan Poe? I wasn't going to use it for readings, but I've decided, yeah, what the heck. So Edgar's in. We have, sorry for moving the table, Vlad Dracula Tarot by Travis McHenry. I have a number of Travis's decks. Always a lovely presentation and dark. Here's why I move the table, because I'm reaching so far. Sorry if it jerks. Can you push the zombie tarot? My very lovely and sexy assistant is now pushing my decks toward me here. So here's 3 decks. As I say, the Vlad Dracula, the Murder of Crows in the special edition, and the regular Murder of Crows. So these are both the same deck. This one is a different presentation, and this you don't read when you're feeling queasy. Again, it's like a punch in the belly when you need some real serious clarity. So I will be reading with one or the other of those editions in the weeks to come. Vlad Dracula, I wish they all looked like Bela Lugosi, because I miss old Bela. Another one not to be taken lightly is the Zombie Tarot. Now, as a child of the 50s, the images in this tarot, I will show you a couple, are very reminiscent of the 1950s and schlock movies. It's very Twilight Zone, very 50s, 60s TV sets. All kinds of fun here. Oops, I've used these, so some of them are upside down. But they make me laugh. It's like watching Car 54, Where Are You, or Rod Serling. But these don't pull any punches either. If you want a serious reading that cuts to the chase. So we will be pulling out the old zombie cards. All right. I just received these 3 decks. This is a low Scarabeo deck. I know some people say low Scarabeo, but I actually checked that out on a sound bite with Google, and my friend Joanne DeGasperis did with me. It's low Scarabeo, so my friend Fran can laugh at my Italian again. This is the Jack-o'-lantern Tarot. I thought this, in prejudging it, I thought it might be just truly a campy tarot. It isn't. It has true RSW style iconography in it, and it's very carefully crafted deck. So I'm just nearly wetting myself to use this deck in a video. This is a dandy. What I will pair it with in terms of the oracle to use, I don't know yet, but if anybody has any requests, put it in the comments. That's a keeper. If you can get this, get this. This is mass market, but it is low Scarabeo, and eventually it will go out of run. I wasn't going to invest in these 2. On first blush, I thought perhaps the artwork didn't suit me. This is the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle, Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. I have to be careful with my first impressions, because quite often my first impressions are 180 degrees opposite of my experience. And this was exactly what happened. I've only had these about a week. I'm trying to be careful with my tarot and oracle budget, because Grandmaster Flash over there, manning the camera, raises eyebrows occasionally. Most of the time he's very good about what I spend on decks, but these are worth it. These have been thoughtfully made. They address the issues around religious appropriation of pagan cultural traditions. The art is beautiful. The energy is beautiful. They've really been well done. They are mass market. I've never seen gilt edging. The Yule one is in green, and the Samhain one is edged in a ruby red. Excuse me. I'm going to definitely be using these a lot in the videos in the weeks to come. All right. Here's a scary pair. This is I'm struggling for the words. The Beauty and the Horror. This is the Pirate Tarot. It says, Fear Your Future. It's by Alan Robert. And it's gorgeous colored cards, G-O-R-E, gore. So that's the kind of kitsch that is fun for this season, and I will definitely probably limit it to just the next few weeks. Quite opposite here by, it's Gabby Angus West, is the Bonfire Tarot. This is a very important tarot in terms of somebody who wants to understand traditions. Now, I haven't used it much with clients, but it is a good set and worth the energy to gather it. It's really well made. It is not a gory deck, but it's a very clear deck about what we have to let go and what we should keep in our lives in this season. So I've included it in this grouping. All right, moving right along here. I could hardly contain myself. as I waited for these decks. Now, this deck by Stacy DeMarco. Stacy is a very gifted writer. This is an oracle. I tend not to buy oracles anywhere near, maybe 25% of my collection at the most is variable divination types, including oracles. But this one is speaks very clearly and is a wonderfully useful tarot. I will pair it with something. I need to give some thoughtful attention to what I pair it to. The next two decks are independent. These are not mass market decks. This one here came in a wooden box. It's called the Moonlight Deck. It's not specific to this season, but it is very much a shadow deck. It's available on Etsy, and the cards are dark, they're black and white, and it's very much shadow imaging. Even this plexiglass is etched, and I don't know if you can see that very well on camera, but it is definitely etched. I just recently received this within the last month, and I will be and have been already using it well before this season. I love it. It's extremely well made. It was well priced, and it was shipped from Poland. So this is a wonderful deck. This one has come to bed with me almost as much as Brian has over the months I've had it. The Antique Anatomy Tarot by Claire Goodchild. She's from Toronto. It's all wonderful mortuary things. It's relating to death, so lots of skeletons, lots of skulls, lots of things to do with here's an upside down nearly skeletal leg, but it's very much about, all right, so here's a card, a skull and some birds sitting on it. So absolutely, I work a lot with this deck. It speaks to me. It speaks to my time working with a pathologist. It speaks to me of my connection to the gentleness of spirits. It's got a very Victorian looking set of cards. But what I loved is on Claire's private website, I was able to get the Memento Mori. It's a Lenormand and Oracle. So the first 36 cards are Lenormand cards, and the other 44 cards, so there's 80 cards in total here, they expand the Lenormand to an Oracle. And of course there's a booklet. And then these just were released late August, and I received them a couple weeks ago. This is the Memento Mori General Expansion deck, and this is the Ancestors and Advisors deck. So they've all come out, and we will definitely be doing a huge reading event with this, possibly even on Halloween Day. I'm going to be planning those out. We're out of focus now. I need some help here. So there was a little bit of a bloop the minute I mentioned using the Claire Goodchild cards for Halloween. The screen went weird. We know from our investigations as parapsychologists that spirit does that. So that's obviously a sign to me that we should be doing it. All right, back to Halloween decks. Good old Anne Stokes. This is her Necronomicon Tarot. Not for the faint of heart. Not if you've eaten a bowl of a kind of rancid sushi. You don't want to be looking at those. But we might use them. This deck, I wasn't going to include, and then Ethany, Ethany on her channel spoke of the Goliath Tarot. This is primarily an animal deck, but Goliath, when he created this deck, he again didn't sugarcoat anything. There's some pretty graphic images and The devil card, for example, is a goat that I wouldn't want to run into. We haven't actually done this deck on this channel. Not one that I would use in a reading for somebody who's sensitive, even though they might like animal decks. But this is very much a seasonal deck, and I will pull it out. In fact, I may do a walkthrough and sample reading from it. These ones, this is the Goliath Tarot, and it is a tarot in darkness, and this is Fabio Lastrani again. So I spoke of two of his decks earlier. Typically his are in these kinds of boxes. I may pull this deck out the same day I read with the other two, so look for that. Flowers of the Night Oracle. The plant people speak a medicine that is no different from the animal totems. And so this Flowers of the Night Oracle is a great oracle to add to another deck, another tarot, for example, that's of this season of spirits. It just adds the right ambiance, but it also adds some incredibly wonderful energy. It's like the icing on the cake. So I've included Flowers of the Night. You won't be scared by them, but they're wonderful. Tarot of the Dead by Monica Knighton. Had to include this one. Lots more very Victorian looking skeletons and little happy things. It's not scary. Lots of fun though. Now, this treasure here is the Marigold Tarot. And the Marigold Tarot I waited to buy. It's an indie deck. It's because marigolds are considered a funereal flower, they feature very, very much in this deck. This is Amrit Brar did this. It's a beautiful set. I bought all the pieces. I bought the tarot bag, and I bought the cloth to go with it. Might as well have skulls and marigolds. So we'll pull this one out for sure for one of the readings over the next couple of weeks. So it looks like we're going to be doing a lot of shorter readings, and perhaps more frequently to get as many of these in prior to Samhain, but or Halloween, whichever you prefer to call it. But we'll go. Oh, I just have a couple more. Okay, so this one, the Oracle of Shadow and Light, is a Lucy Cavendish. She's an author that we see out in tarot world. She usually does oracles, and her characters look a lot like dolls, or the kids in velvet paintings if you go back far enough in time. It's not exactly my art style, but this is a great seasonal deck for this time of year. We might use Lucy Cavendish, not sure yet. Now, this is the House of Shadows Lenormand series. I've got 3, 4, and 5. These are signed editions. This is the Lenormand, and each series has 6 additional different cards with it. But you gotta know, I love Monica Badirsky, love Shadowland. This is definitely a deck we will be using. So we've got the Oracle, we've got the cards, we've got the cloth. So if you haven't got your copy, this is an award-winning deck in the International Tarot Society. And we have all these editions of the Lenormand. Now, the last one I bring you is Tarot of the Night. It's a Richard Shadow Fox, and it's a Schiffer presentation. Definitely seasonal, definitely appropriate to this time of year. This is a great presentation as far as decks go. I don't use it a lot, but I think that's just because I find myself going with certain decks for a while and then I need to shake things up. So I think Mr. Shadow Fox is in the background while I wait to shake things up. So here we are, got my skulls, the ghost is in the background. I'll get Brian to dig out my raven that squawks and has a red light and eyes flash, and yeah, we'll do that. I would like to thank you for joining me for this video, and I'm going to go ahead and shoot a few more videos actually using these cards. So I look forward with love and light to sharing this wonderful season of spirits with you. Miigwech, aho.